Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to deal with topic 3.3, 1848, the revolution of liberals. So before we start with the topic, let me explain you the meaning of liberals. Liberals kaun the? Who were the people who were termed as liberals? So basically, liberals were the people who strongly believed in the idea of freedom and equality. ठीक है, ऐसे लोग जो लिबर्टी में बिलीव करते थे, दैट मीन्स एवरीबडी शुड बी ट्रीटेड इक्वली, सबकी इक्वल ट्रीटमेंट हो, कोई सेग्रीगेशन, कोई डिफरेंसेस, कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेशन ना रहे. सो दे वर बेसिकली द पीपल हु वर कॉल्ड एज लिबरल्स. नाउ लेट अस स्टार्ट. Parallel to the revolts of the poor, unemployed, and starving peasants and workers in many European countries, in year 1848, a revolution led by the educated middle classes was underway. So, parallelly, that means at that time, poor, unemployed, and starving peasants. Starving means people who could not get food to eat. Okay, they had scarcity of food. वो लोग रिवोल्ट कर रहे थे, उनके साथ साथ एक और नई रिवोल्यूशन की बिगनिंग हुई थी. एंड दिस वाज नॉट लेड बाय द पुअर पीपल, रादर दिस वाज लेड बाय द प्रॉस्परस सेक्शन ऑफ द थर्ड स्टेट. ठीक है, थर्ड स्टेट के जो प्रॉस्परस सेक्शन थे, एजुकेटेड पीपल थे, उन्होंने एक रिवोल्यूशन स्टार्ट किया था. लेट अस सी व्हाई. Events of February 1848 in France had brought about abdication of monarchs and republic based on universal male suffrage has been proclaimed. So, in 1848 February, what had happened after the February revolution, monarchs powers were seized और republic form of government को establish किया गया था, and in that universal male suffrage was given. ठीक है, men were given political rights, not women, only males. Now, in other parts of Europe, where independent nation state did not yet exist, such as Germany, Italy, Poland, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, men and women of the liberal middle class combined their demands for constitutionalism with national unification. So, here other places जैसे उस समय जर्मनी, इटली, पोलैंड, ऑस्ट्रिया हंगरी, ये सब कंट्रीज नहीं बनी हुई थी, रादर वो एक एम्पायर के अंडर में थी. सो what all these people, men and women, they combined together for what purpose? They that come down together looking for, or you can say demanding for constitutionalism. Okay, अब ये क्या थी? That means that the place should be not ruled according to the wish and desire of the monarch. Rather, there should be a proper constitution that would guide the monarch. वो ऐसे ही फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट चाहते थे जहां पे एक पर्सन के पास सारी पावर्स ना हो, रादर द पावर शुड बी शेयर, और इफ यू कैन से दैट द पावर शुड बी शेयर. ओके, they took advantage of the growing popular unrest to push their demand for the creation of nation state on parliamentary principle, a constitution, freedom of press, and freedom of association. So what happened? They took advantage of this revolutionaries. They took advantage ये लोगों के unrest का. People, they started becoming very you can say frequently they started getting angry. कैसे जब बहुत लंबे समय तक आप कुछ डिमांड कर रहे हो और आपकी डिमांड्स फुलफिल नहीं हो रही है, हाउ डू यू कम इन अ सिचुएशन वेर यू आर नॉट काम. ठीक है, आप काम नहीं होते हैं, आपको गुस्सा आने लगता है, यू स्टार्ट रिएक्टिंग, यू स्टार्ट बिहेविंग इन अ नेगेटिव मैनर, आप वायलेंट होने लगते हैं. सो टेकिंग ऑल दिस, व्हाट डिड दे डू? दे पुश देयर डिमांड फॉर क्रिएशन ऑफ अ नेशन स्टेट. वो क्या डिमांड करने लगे? दे स्टार्टेड डिमांडिंग फॉर अ सेपरेट country. They started demanding for a separate nation state, and the nation state जो country बनेगी, nation state means countries, जो countries बनेगी, they'll be on the parliamentary principle. वो parliamentary principles पे होंगी. That means उनकी एक constitution होगी, जैसे हमारे इंडिया में हमारी constitution. फ्रीडम ऑफ प्रेस होगी, फ्रीडम ऑफ एसोसिएशन होगी. ओके, दैट मीन्स पीपल विल हैव मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द राइट्स. ठीक है, पीपल विल बी एट इट्स कोर. वो अगर हैप्पी नहीं है रूलिंग गवर्नमेंट से, दे हैव ऑल द फ्रीडम टू क्रिटिसाइज. If they are not happy with the ruling party, they have freedom to form association. Okay, and apart from that, whoever is ruling them will be guided by the constitution. In the German regions, a large number of political associations whose members were middle class professionals, businessmen, and prosperous artisans came together in the city of Frankfurt and decided to vote for all German National Assembly. So what happened? So all these people, third state के जितने prosperous people थे, businessmen, middle class professionals, prosperous artisans, जो famous painters, potters जो famous थे, उन लोगों ने क्या डिसाइड किया? They decided to come together in the city of Frankfurt. Frankfurt एक जगह की नाम है, Frankfurt में वो assemble हुए, and what did they decide? They decided to form their own party, ठीक है, and that was named as All German National Assembly. On 18th May 1848, 831 elected representatives marched in a festive procession to take their place in the Frankfurt Parliament, converted in the Church of St. Paul's. So what happened? So privately they conducted an election, और उस election में 831 लोग इलेक्ट हो जाते हैं, और वो 831 लोग कैसे हमारे विनिंग कैंडिडेट्स एक फेस्टिव प्रोसेशन निकालते हैं, जुलूस जिसे आप कहते हैं, वैसे ही उन 831 लोगों ने व्हाट डिड दे डू? दे मार्च टुवर्ड्स द सेंट पॉल चर्च इन अ फेस्टिव प्रोसेशन. अपने फेस्टिव प्रोसेशन में मार्च करते हुए सेंट पॉल चर्च जाते हैं, और सेंट पॉल चर्च को क्या में कन्वर्ट कर दिया था उन लोगों ने? फ्रैंकफर्ट पार्लियामेंट में. ओके, दैट मीन्स डिस्पाइट एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, दे हैड क्रिएटेड देयर ओन पार्लियामेंट. खुद की एक अलग गवर्निंग बॉडी, रूलिंग बॉडी उन्होंने क्रिएट की थी, एंड दिस वाज ऑल डन टू शो देयर डिसएग्रीमेंट टुवर्ड्स द रूलिंग किंग. नाउ they drafted a constitution for German nation to be headed by monarchy subject to a parliament. So they drafted a constitution. उन्होंने constitution draft किया, फ्रैंकफर्ट पार्लियामेंट में constitution draft हुआ, और उसके बाद क्या changes वो चाहते थे फ्रांस में? They wanted to bring the changes where the monarch will be guided by the constitution. That means they wanted monarchy to be converted to constitutional monarchy. I hope you all know what is constitutional monarchy, but even if you have forgotten, I'll tell you. Constitutional monarchy is a situation where the monarch is still the ruling authority, but he or she cannot take decisions on the basis of their will. Rather, they have to refer to the constitution. Now, when the deputies offered the crown on these terms to Frederick William IV, King of Prussia, he rejected it and joined other monarchs to oppose the elected assembly. So what happened? So on this condition, what was the condition? That now your country will be converted to constitutional monarchy. Now you will be guided by the constitution. जब इन सारे conditions के साथ जब लोगों ने फ्रेडरिक विलियम फोर को क्राउन ऑफर किया, he rejected the crown, he disagreed to accept the crown, and what did he do? He joined the other monarchs. So joining the other monarchs clearly means that this was not only happening in a place, rather such situation was in entire European continents. Okay, in the entire European countries, जितने भी यूरोप में countries थी, most of the countries the people were behaving in the same way. So all the monarchs had united together against the common people. While the opposition of the aristocracy and military became stronger, the social bias of parliament eroded. The parliament was dominated by middle classes who resented the demands of the workers and artisans. And so what happened? So since at that time Frankfurt Parliament was mostly the population of the prosperous third state people was in it. जितने भी थर्ड स्टेट के जो प्रॉस्परस लोग थे उनकी मेजॉरिटी पॉपुलेशन थी उस फ्रैंकफर्ट पार्लियामेंट में. सो व्हाट डिड दे डू? इवन दे फॉरगॉट अबाउट द डाउन थ्रोडन पीपल ऑफ द थर्ड स्टेट. जो थर्ड स्टेट के गरीब लोग थे उनके बारे में वो खुद, ये जो प्रॉस्परस लोग थे वो भी भूल गए उनके बारे में भी. सो दिस अगेन created a situation where people were not united. Third state was not united. Why? Because जो rich people थे third state के, after they had got the powers, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So same happened, absolute power had corrupted them Absolutely. After getting the powers, they forgot about their other men of the same state. They did not consider their demands, the workers and artisans' demands. Troops were called in, and the assembly was forced to disband. So, what happened since they were not united? I have said you all earlier also that strength lies in unity. Since they were not united, what had happened? They had become weak because the masses, the majority was of poor people, and since the rich people were not supporting or not considering their demand, the poor people withdrew their support, and that made Frankfurt Parliament, or you can say the Frankfurt Assembly, very unstable. Okay, बहुत अनस्टेबल हो जाती है, और इसके वजह से आर्मी आती है, और आर्मी के लिए एक ये बहुत इजी टास्क हो जाता है टू रिमूव देम फ्रॉम देयर पोजीशन. So Frankfurt Parliament was, you can say, it was dissolved by the forces, or you can say by the military. The issue of extending political rights to women was a controversial one within the liberal movement, in which large number of women had participated actively over the years. Women had formed their own political association, founded newspaper, and taken part in political meetings and demonstrations. Despite this, they were denied. So what happened? So women, despite women were always an active part, or you can say an active member of all these political associations, but still their political rights was not given to them. जब भी कोई भी changes आती, parliamentary changes आती, still the rights was not given to them. It became very impossible for them to cope up with the activities of men. ठीक है, अब वो ट्रस्ट नहीं कर पा रहे थे मैन को, दैट डिस्पाइट आर न्यूमरस सपोर्ट्स, डिस्पाइट आर इन्वॉल्वमेंट इन वेरियस स्ट्रगल्स, स्टिल व्हेन मैन नेवर प्रोवाइडेड देम विद any of the political rights, this brought them in a situation where they started forming their own separate groups. They started forming their own political parties. They started going for their own political meetings. उनकी अलग demonstration करने लगे. Demonstration मतलब वो publicly display करने लगे अपनी ideas को, सत्याग्रह पे जाना, हड़ताल पे जाना, धरने पे जाना, ये सब demonstrations होते हैं. So now let us see your next one, that is suffrage right during the election of the assembly, where the Frankfurt Parliament converted in the Church of St. Paul. Women were admitted only as an observer to stand in the visitors gallery. So what happened? The St. Paul's Church that was converted into Frankfurt Parliament, उस समय भी जब ये मीटिंग हो रही थी, women were not allowed to enter the meeting as an active citizen. उन्हें active citizen का दर्जा ना देके उन्हें passive citizens में convert कर दिया गया था. That means they were present physically, they were present in the Frankfurt Parliament, but as a mere observer. They could only see the meeting, they could see the happenings in the Frankfurt Parliament, but they had no right to participate in it. वो कुछ बोल नहीं सकते थे, वो अपने decisions नहीं दे सकते थे, वो अपने suggestions नहीं दे सकते थे. So just imagine a situation, this is such a futile situation. ठीक है, आप खड़े तो हैं, publicly बोल दिया गया that you are a part of it, you are a part of all this meeting, but you cannot speak, you cannot raise your point, you cannot give your opinion. So this is futile standing. There's no point standing in such meeting. So this was the reason why women out there, they became very angry. Though conservative forces were able to suppress liberal movements in 1848, they could not restore the old order. So, at that time, ये जो conservatives थे, what they wanted, conservatives ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो tradition से continue करना चाहते हैं, ठीक है? They want that, ठीक है, थोड़ी बहुत changes तो आ जाएं, but the basic essence of the tradition should कंटिन्यू, ठीक है, जो पहले से बहुत सालों से चली आ रही है वो प्रथा कंटिन्यू रहे, ठीक है. सो कंजर्वेटिव्स दे कुड इजीली सप्रेस द लिबरल मूवमेंट. लिबरल मूवमेंट को तो वो आराम से सप्रेस कर पाए, बट मोनार्कियल फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट को, ट्रेडिशनल फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट को वो वापस रिस्टोर नहीं कर पाए, ठीक है. Monarchs were beginning to realize that the cycle of revolution and repression could only be ended by granting concession to the liberal nationalist revolutionaries. So what happened? Monarchs realized one thing. They had come up with a new plan that अगर हमें ये सारा changes, ये सारे problems को sort out करनी है, so there is only one way. ये बस एक तरीका है, इनकी कुछ demands को हम fulfill कर दें. You know, this was exactly what was done in India. ठीक है. इंडिया में भी अगर आप देखेंगे, देयर वर न्यूमरस डिमांड्स दैट आर रेवोल्यूशनरीज, आर फ्रीडम फाइटर्स यूज्ड टू पुट फॉरवर्ड टू द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट. और वो क्या करते थे, वो 10 रूल्स में से 5 को मानते थे और 5 को नहीं मानते थे. एंड यू नो पीपल यूज्ड टू गेट सैटिस्फाइड विद इट, होपिंग दैट मे बी नेक्स्ट टाइम they'll be fulfilling all our demands. So same happened at that time. The monarchs, they had come to a situation where they felt कि ये जो cycle of revolution है, ये जो repeatedly जो revolutions होते जा रहे हैं one after another, the only way to curb this revolution, the only way to control this revolution is to fulfill the demands of the liberal nationalist revolutionaries. You know, this happens with you also. जैसे ही आप घर में डिमांड करने लगते हैं, give me money to go for party, go for my friend's birthday party, or let me go for ट्रिप, स्कूल ट्रिप. हाउ डू योर पेरेंट्स सेटिस्फाई यू कि ठीक है, ट्रिप पे नहीं जाओ, मैं तुम्हें साइकिल ले दूंगा, मैं तुम्हें सेल फोन ले दूंगा. ओके, सो दिस इज हाउ द रेवोल्यूशन इज कर्ब. ठीक है. ये बहुत छोटे लेवल में मैंने आपको एक्सप्लेन किया आपके फैमिली में कैसे आपके रेवोल्यूशन को कर्ब किया जाता है. बिल्कुल वैसे ही these monarchs, they decided to fulfill some of the demands of the revolutionaries at that time. Hence, in the year after 1848, the aristocracy monarch of Central and Eastern Europe began to introduce the changes that had already been taken in Western Europe before 1815. So, what this aristocracy did, aristocracy and monarchs of Central and Eastern Europe, what they started doing, they began to bring the changes. ऐसा changes जो कि पहले ही वेस्टर्न यूरोप में आ चुकी थी. ठीक है, वो सारी चेंजेस वो सेंट्रल और ईस्टर्न पार्ट में भी लाने लगे, बिकॉज दे हैड ऑलरेडी सीन कि ये चेंजेस जो है वो वेस्टर्न यूरोप के मोनार्क्स के लिए हेल्पफुल है. The serfdom and bonded laborers were abolished both in Habsburg dominance and in Russia. The Habsburg ruler granted more autonomy to the Hungarians in 1867. So what happened? Serfdoms को उन्होंने हटा दिया, bounded laborer, serfdom, slavery को हटा दिया, and they had come to a conclusion जहाँ पे अब आपको कोई slave नहीं बना सकता है. ठीक है, आपको स्लेवरी अबॉलिश हो चुकी है, आपको कोई स्लेव्स नहीं बना सकता है, आप सब इक्वल हैं. ये सारा कुछ उन्होंने ईस्टर्न और सेंट्रल यूरोप में भी ला दिया, जो पहले से ही वेस्टर्न यूरोप में थे. So, you know, one more thing, you know, bringing things to paper and bringing them in the ground reality is very different. ठीक है, आपने कुछ पेपर पे, जैसे हमारे बहुत सारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में चेंजेस आए थे जिसके बाद इक्वालिटी ला दी गई थी, कोई अपर या कोई लोअर नहीं होगा. ठीक है, एवरीबडी विल बी ट्रीटेड इक्वली इन द सोसाइटी. बट डज दिस हैपन इन ऑन द ग्राउंड लेवल? यू मस्ट हैव सीन हाउ एट योर होम द टॉयलेट क्लीनर्स आर ट्रीटेड. They are cleaning your dirt. You should be thankful to them. But how do we treat them? We treat them as somebody being untouchables. Imagine they are touching the waste that we ourselves are not doing it, despite it's our own waste. So they are much more greater than us. Okay, because they are cleaning the dirt that we feel, you know, we hesitate in doing the work. Okay, just imagine if I would ask you to do the same work in others' house. I'll pay you 1,000 rupees, but you have to clean somebody's toilet. Would you do it? No, you'll not do it. Why? Because, you know, you have that thing that, you know, it's his waste, not my waste. So imagine he is doing the work for you, but still you discriminate. So this is what I want to say over here is that, serfdom and slavery was abolished, but this was only on the paper. When it comes to ground reality, these things had not gone away from the society. So at that time, these monarchs, they had realized one thing कि पेपर पे तो इन चीजों को इंट्रोड्यूस कर दो और जो कॉमन हैपनिंग में, कॉमन लाइफ में ये चलती रहेगी. ओके, सो दैट पीपल कैन नॉट क्लेम इन द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ. और जो थोड़े बहुत जो पढ़े लिखे लोग होंगे, दे विल बी सेटिस्फाइड विद इट, थिंकिंग दैट मोनार्क हैज brought some positive change in the society. So this was all about it. So next we will be reading about the making of Germany and Italy. So you're up till here, you're this page, this is your syllabus, and be very focused for your next exam. Whenever it is, be very focused and do revise the things. Thank you so much.